I'm excited about all the women here, and I heard we were down a woman, so I got a sub here. Let me just get her little stand, and I'll pass it over to Chief Patterson.
Good morning, everyone. Chief Patterson, I'm the Senior Enlisted Leader at the 412th Medical Group. I've been stationed here about 18 months now, so time truly does fly. It does not feel like I've been here 18 months. I've been serving in the Air Force 21 years. That time has also flown by. I feel like I just joined yesterday, and same sentiments as Chief Ward Swanigan. I do remember sitting in the audience and just watching a powerful group of women share their experiences, and felt so inspired and wanting to emulate a lot of the things that I saw that they were able to accomplish. And so that representation mattered to me and inspired me to keep going in my military career. And I am super blessed to be able to sit here now on stage to share some of my experiences with you today. So looking forward to answering some questions.
So I am Senior Master Sergeant Brown. I am the first sergeant for Security Forces. I've been a first sergeant for 5.5 years. I've been here for 5.5 years. I am a primary AFSC as Security Forces as well. I was over at maintenance for a little over 3 years. I never saw a women's history panel or anything like this until I came to Edwards. So I think we're getting it right. I don't know what those other bases were doing, but this is so exciting to me because I see the impact it makes on each and every person that attends these things, and so honored to be with all of you ladies up here. So yeah, looking forward to any questions you guys have.
Hi, I'm Liz Henderson. I'm the production coordinator on swings. I'm the eyes, ears, and voice of the deputy commander for the 412th MXG. I guess I would have to put it so that he can enjoy his dinner with his family so that he's not bothered all the time. But I PCS'd here from Okinawa, and I was most excited about coming here to be able to take a shower and dry off. and I've enjoyed that part. But I've been here a really long time. I'm not going to say how many years. And I've had a lot of jobs with different contractors and everything else, but I'd have to say most exciting part of my career has been joining civil service and working up through the ranks. So I've really enjoyed that. And I'm very honored to be here with all of you.
All right, my name is Gary. I am the technical director for the 412 Test Engineering Group. I just got that job about a month ago, so I'm still not quite sure what I'm doing. but the goal of the job is to kind of looking ahead, make sure that we have the technical infrastructure in place to be able to support tests the right way for our warfighters. Before that, I was a flight chief at the 775th Test Squadron. I have been here working as an engineer on base pretty much. It was my second career right out of school. Been here for about 14 years, and it has been an amazing experience. And I'm really honored to be here on this panel with you guys. I'm really looking forward to the discussion that we're going to have.
Awesome. I'm Teresa Epperman. I'm the 461st Deputy Director. I've been on base for 20 years now, straight out of college. This is my first experience with military, first experience with a base. I was terrified. My mom wanted me to ask if I could live on base because that was safe. Because I'm from Ohio. California's a scary place in Ohio, so she was terrified. But yep, I'm Deputy Director. I started out in EW and then moved over to EN for a couple years and then made it up to Deputy Director. So I've been on almost every squadron, flying squadron, I think, except F-16s. And I am super excited to be here with all these amazing people.
Well, thank you ladies so much for sharing. Let's now dive into our questions. I have prepared some questions to pose to our leaders to kind of kick off the discussion. Once the directed panelist has answered the question, we will open the forum up for any other panelists to add their comments. So, starting with Chief Patterson. How did you learn to lead early in your career, and what would you recommend those interested in pursuing leadership opportunities do to prepare?
I'll be very honest with you. I have had again, very blessed career where I had the opportunity to be mentored by quite a few people who honestly just took time with me As a young airman, there was a lot I didn't know. I think I shared yesterday, we had lunch with a group of airmen. My mentality was still the same as if I just came out of high school. I would go to my first duty station thinking, man, if I just hurry up and finish my work for the day, maybe I can go home and just kind of hang out and watch TV or whatever I wanted to do at that time. Not knowing that, no, you're in the Air Force, you're serving, you're called to be here 24 hours, 7 days a week if need be. You can't just pick up and leave. And so that was kind of a culture shift for me in the very beginning, just to understand what did it mean to actually serve and to wear the uniform. And so investing in finding the right mentors and just taking time to do the best job that I could. And I'll be honest, I'm a diet therapist by trade. It's one of the thankless jobs in the medical group. I literally wear a hairnet and steel-toe boots and an apron. And coming into the Air Force, that's not what I thought I was going to be doing. I thought I was going to be wearing khaki pants, a polo shirt, some Air Max shoes, teaching nutrition. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening when I got on the bus and went to services school. So you could only imagine my disappointment in the very beginning. But I was told, you know what, it doesn't matter if you are doing a job that you don't necessarily love today. Do the best job that you can in this job. So that way we can help prepare you for maybe the things that you want to do in the future. So my advice to people is to find a good mentor. Get you a tribe of mentors, people who can tell you the things that you need to hear versus the things that you want to hear, people who are willing to support you and encourage you and enlighten you on things just in life and to help you to be just the best version of yourself that you can be. Those are the things that have helped me to become the senior leader that I am today. And honestly, those are the things that I strive to do for my airmen and NCOs and even my officers and civilian airmen, is to pass on a lot of nuggets that were shared with me. I got a couple med group folks in the audience. They know every Monday I'm sending them a Monday mindset. I'm just passing on lessons because I'm so blessed that I had the opportunity to serve this long. And it's, for me, a way to give back for all those individuals who poured into me. I'm just passing on nuggets. And hopefully they could use those things to be a springboard for the things they want to accomplish in their careers. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Do we have any other panelists that would like to add on?
No, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
She did. Beautiful. We all agree.
Moving on to our next question. This one's for Senior Master Sergeant Brown. Have you faced any significant challenges or barriers during your career? And if so, what tools did you use to overcome them?
So I thought about this question a lot because being a defender, female defender, it is tough. And so I came in 22 years ago and the culture was a lot different than it is now. So I have multiple stories I could talk about challenges, but there was a reoccurring theme when I thought about this question, and the reoccurring thing is the hardest thing to do is overcome the challenge of self-doubt. And I see everyone shaking their heads, so I know this is going to resonate with everybody because no matter how much you do and how hard you drive, there's always going to be a naysayer. There's always going to be someone around the corner to tell you, you're not doing that right, you're not good enough, you're a woman, how are you doing that? You don't look a certain way, so you can't do these certain things. And so along my career, those were the challenges that I faced. I was always thriving and thriving, but there was always someone around the corner to try to put me down. And so to ignore those voices was the hardest challenge. And we as a society, now that we have social media, we see it even more, right? Everybody has to have a like, or how many friends do you have? Well, it's our human instinct to want to be accepted. It's our human instinct to want to do good. So it's hard when people push you down and say, no, you're not good enough. So to me, that was the hardest challenge, is reminding yourself of your worth and that you can do whatever it is you set your mind to. Nobody else is going to do it. They're not going to walk in your shoes to get you there. So that's the hardest challenge at times, is don't ever allow somebody to tell you you can't. It is your drive. You do it.
I like to piggyback on what Senior Brown has just said. I agree with her absolutely 100%. There has been, throughout my career, this pressure to not fail. I I feel like I represent women, I represent Black people, I represent IT, comm personnel, divorcees, chiefs, command chiefs, like the list goes on. If you take every characteristic about me, I have a pressure that I put on myself to not fail because I'm representing so many different communities, and the challenges are the biases of other people and the inequalities that we witness. And for me, I've been a woman now for 43 years, and I remember early on learning about this power pecking order. And I never seeked to have power by any means in my life, but you have white men, Black men, white women, and Black women. So I came into a lot of my adulthood experiences with that in the back of my mind and feeling pressure to elevate myself from the bottom rung and prove that I'm just as qualified as anybody else. And you can fill any race or ethnicity in those Black versus white type things. Being outnumbered is another one. I remember early on when you're the only female in the room, and that go along to get along thing is real. I mean, I remember not wanting to rock the boat and listening to sexist jokes and vulgar things and smirking and smiling as if I'm okay with it, but deep down it's tearing me up. And so that's another thing. Not being heard is another one. I know there have been countless instances of where I would come up with an idea, I would voice it, and it just like felt like a lead balloon. But the male next to me said it, and it was like the best idea ever. And feeling like you're never gonna break that barrier, that's another one. The gender limitations that we put on each other in society, that started long before any of us, right? Like that's just some of the things that you grow, the roles, women cook and men do this and women do that kind of stuff. And, just driving in a car even and somebody screwing up on the road and hearing that must be a woman, and then getting close enough so I can see, and damn it was a woman. Just little things like that. So the judgment of emotions, I'm very emotional. I'm an empath, so I take on everybody else's pain. Doesn't matter what it is, physical, mental, you name it, right? And I'm welling up now just talking about it. And so there's this impression management that comes along with it too, where if I cry, oh, she can't handle it, or she can't cope, or whatever, a man cries, oh man, gosh. So, and I'm not saying that to discount men or anything like that. I'm just bringing up some of the double standard type stuff that you deal with, that if I do it, then it's this, and if they do it, it's that, and we've all seen some things like that. So 100% echo, and then to elaborate on some of what she's talking about, like that's a real thing, those are real things, and so, yeah. And it hasn't stopped. I remember walking in to this position and walking into the wing building where I work and being greeted by 3 white males and, good morning, how's it going? Silence, no eye contact, nothing. And what do? Keep it pushing. Go up there and do what I came to do. Because I don't know why. You don't want to make assumptions as to why. But you can't help sometimes as you're going in the grocery store or you're going wherever or doing whatever, why is this person or these people responding to me in that way? And it may not have been because I'm a woman or because I'm Black. I just don't know, right? But the fact that it happens and you have to go deal with that or figure it out or just keep pushing is what I would add. I know that's a lot.
I have to say, though, being in the aircraft maintenance career field all my life and being the only woman in the room for a long time, we've come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
We really have, because from when I first started out, it was pretty raunchy. So, but I've always dealt with that with a sense of humor. And I was also, like she said, I'm a troublemaker. And I was able to use my sense of humor and troublemaking to get people to stop doing the crap that I didn't appreciate and get them to step back and see me. So I was very fortunate to have that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I would say too, as one of the first female engineers, definitely the first in several of the vaults on base. So you're in a locked room hours at a time, and it's always guys. I've really been impressed overall with the mentorship that I've received and the quality of acceptance that I've seen in the last 20 years that I haven't had to deal with as much as I actually expected to. So I think BASE has done a really good job of managing expectations, explaining to people so that hopefully some of those poor behaviors don't continue. So it seems to have, yes, like as you said, gotten much better.
Absolutely.
The only thing I'll add to that as well is prior to being stationed here, I was at Special Warfare Training Wing out there in San Antonio and housed in the TACP schoolhouse, which was kind of eerie because as I was talking about wearing a hairnet and steel toe boots and an apron, it was the same exact building, just refurbished. I remember walking in there and there's no female restrooms. And so when you think about the challenges you have to overcome, it's even in the little things that matter, right? And when you're talking about certain career fields that are male dominated, and here I am, I'm in a position where I'm just the operations superintendent. I'm trying to help organize, train, equip, resource these airmen so they can go out and be the war fighters that we need who do the nation's business that we know nothing about. But what if I just need to use the restroom? And so those challenges we can't forget about, right? The little things. While we're still doing the big things, to be mindful that we are all a part of this mission, big or small, the ones that are boasted about and the ones that are done in quiet, they're all important and we all play a role in helping those missions succeed. So not forgetting the little things as we continue to charge forward with making a more inclusive environment.
Thank you so much. Our next question is for you, Chief Ward-Flanagan. How do you balance your work and life responsibilities?
So for me, balance is all relative. I had to learn that, it's not 50% work or 50% life, Everybody's work-life balance is different. For me, just making sure that I am devoting enough to my family. I put a lot into my work, and I have to sometimes remember that you have to do even more for your family when you come home. I remember when I was a single mom, I would be at my job with my 2 kids playing around on the carpet, doing work, and I really should have been home with them, taking care of them and taking care of their needs, but I was doing work and making sure that, I'm doing that well too. Like I said, I represent a lot of things and I'm gonna do, with my name on it, I'm gonna do it well. And that's just some of the pressures that I put on myself. And so remembering to take care of myself is big because we talk about self-care a lot here recently. We haven't always talked as much about that. Or we haven't been, it hasn't been on the forefront in my mind, in my opinion. So making sure that I have time to just do me too. I take care of family as much as I take care of work, but am I also just taking care of me, whether that's working out or just having a quiet space to just do nothing, giving myself permission to not always be up, moving around, cleaning, cooking, or whatever. That's really what it boils down to, is just making sure that I'm deliberate about me so that I can do all the rest of that stuff.
Yeah, that resonates with me because I had to learn those same lessons, and I've swapped balance with harmony. And that's a difference, right? Balance is trying to create equality on both sides, right? Harmony is more of a coexistence. And I too have had those nights, right? Especially I was a career advisor, and you're the only one that does that job. And so I remember many nights, pizza night at mom's office, right? And try to make it something fun when really it's like, no, I'd rather be having a home cooked meal sitting at my kitchen table. But what I will tell you is that learning to harmonize things and focusing on quality versus quantity time has helped me a lot. Because sometimes my quantity time may be spent at work, but then my quality time when I get home, if my daughter just wants to paint nails and watch Netflix, that's what we're doing because that's what she likes. Mm-hmm. If my son wants to play Call of Duty, even though I suck at Call of Duty, I'm just going to play Call of Duty, right? And suck up my bad scores that I'm going to get there. But the point is focusing on how do I create harmony, right? And if I'm volunteering, can I bring my kids with me or whatever I can do to create this coexistence? I think it's helped me over the years because you're right, balance is just too hard. And it is a lot of pressure because you feel like, well, am I giving 100% on this side? Am I giving 100% on that side? And to be honest, it's exhausting.
Very much
It's just exhausting. So I had to learn to stop doing that and find the harmony in my life.
Yes. I would say we no longer ask that balance question and replace it with harmony.
Harmony.
So out in the world, please stop saying balance.
I'm taking notes right
because
now.
it is that's what I think of. I think of the Lady of Justice, with the scales, and that is not achievable. It's not realistic. It's not. I'm a single mother proudly for the past 10 years. And when I put on my diamond, again, the naysayers, oh, you can't do that. What are you going to do if you get called in the middle of the night? So I found my harmony in building my community because my community is why I am where I am today. Asking for help and not being afraid of that. And that's how I'm functioning. That's how I get through because every now and then my children need me. And my unit needs to understand, and I have amazing assistant first sergeants and amazing counsel, amazing chiefs, that I know everyone else is going to be okay if I have to go and now shift my priority to my children. And so that's just community. That's how as a single mother, and if you're a single mom out there and you're questioning, but am I strong enough? Can I do that? Yes, you can. Sí, sí puede. You can, okay? Because your community is always going to have your back.
The Air Force is a wonderful community, by the
It
way.
is.
It's awesome. But another thing about being a woman in the workforce and work and harmony is learning to forgive yourself for not getting it all done. Stepping back and saying, I'm not a superhuman, and it's okay. That's all I wanted to do.
No, that's perfect.
We really struggle too because work has deadlines and you can work towards those deadlines and okay, I got to make that deadline. Whereas the home life is a little bit more squishy, right? So I mean, I've got certain deadlines for my kids, but if I miss that week because I've got to go TDY, that's okay. You keep doing that and you keep doing that over the years. You find out, your kids are 2 years from college and you're like, man, where did those evenings go? Where did those Call of Duty, man, we're Tetris, but
I'd rather play Tetris.
Where does that time go and how do you get it back? So you realize that you haven't harmonized, you haven't balanced, but you made some deadlines that nobody remembers. So, but having that community there that has your back that goes, I've got that deadline for you, that's critical.
Just to add to that, I think one of the things that I've always struggled with is, as a leader, I've always felt like my job is to be there for my people, right? That my people are number one. I have to be there for them whenever they need me. But, there's a harmony to that that I struggled to find, especially in the middle of COVID, right? I'm sure all of us did, where, you've got your kids around you needing stuff, needing help with homework, needing help with online school and whatever it is, and you're trying to juggle this other meeting on the side, and it's like, well, what do I do? Who do I pay attention to in the next 30 seconds, right? When you've got someone at work who's having a crisis and then your own kid that's having a crisis, like how do you balance which one do you pay attention to in the next 30 seconds, 30 minutes, whatever it is. So I know that those two worlds kind of came crashing together for me during that, especially that first year. And I'm sure everyone has experienced similar things that was really hard. But again, I had to find that self-care too of like, okay, it's okay for me to just walk away from everything for 5 minutes and just breathe and have a glass of water and just, find my grounding and then go back and reattack, right? So that 1 year was very tough, and it kind of brought a lot of things to the forefront for me as far as what my priorities should actually be.
Thank you, Ms. Bamidapeti. And we're going to segue that into our next question. It's for you. What is something that you wish you had early in your career, and have you been able to provide that for your subordinates as a leader?
Something I wish I had. Honestly, I feel like I was very fortunate in the sense that I've always had really supportive leadership throughout my whole career here, right? That hasn't necessarily been the case with people I've worked with, but the people in my leadership team have always, always, always been there for me. I've always had mentors. I've always had folks who recognize my talents and were willing to kind of give me that support and that push whenever I needed it, right? Self-doubt was something that I definitely struggled with. I still, to this day, still struggle with it of like, am I really ready for this? This sounds kind of scary to me, but I've always had other people who are like, no, of course you can do it. Like, you got this, right? And to me, that's been the thing that I've tried to pay forward my whole time as a leader. It's been that you got this message that I have really tried to emphasize to everybody across the board. It doesn't matter who you are. You are here for a reason. We picked you for a reason. There's no reason that you can't do this, right? So, self-doubt should be something that's just left at the door. You're going to come in here and you're going to crush it, and I am here for you the whole way. And I feel like that's the support I've gotten this whole time. I want to be able to just keep that propagating throughout. So that's been my experience, at least. I've been very lucky.
That's great. Okay. Ms. Henderson, how can we pave the way for a more diverse leadership in the future, based off your experience?
I don't know. It's a tough one. A little help here.
I think we're doing it. I mean, I think we've been paving the way for quite some time, and we just got to keep it moving. When we're in the seat, it's our turn. The same way that people pave the way for people like me. I'm standing on some broad and bold shoulders, and it's on me to pass that torch, carry the torch, try not to drop it, pass it on to the next folks. And I got a mean shoulder workout so that folks can stand on these, And I think that, men as allies, as this book talks about. I think this book, for one, this is our book club book. It's called Women in Leadership, and it talks about how men as allies is a big deal. And I came from an organization previous to this one where my boss was sitting at a meeting for senior leaders, and he looked around and recognized that it was all white males and one white female. And he took it upon himself to say, you know what, we need to be a little more diverse. We need to be deliberate in how we're hiring and those sorts of things. And he started to make sure that we change it. It may not necessarily be race or gender driven, but those are sometimes the byproduct of someone who's just as qualified. And so making sure that we are taking a look at that sort of thing and just doing it, just rolling out with it. I think we are spending a lot of time right now on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's causing us to focus a lot on our skin color and maybe gender. And I look at my white friends, supervisors, mentors, and subordinates and whatnot, and other ethnicities as well, and wonder how everybody is doing with this. And I've been told that some people are feeling left out or discounted, and it's not fair, and we're focused on the wrong things. And so I want us to look at how we're approaching that diversity thing and not make it look not make it so much about how we look, you know what I mean? Because I think we get caught up. And I'm not suggesting that that's what our leadership is doing, but if we can somehow tone down the way we look as being the key to the diversity, then we can just roll out and just be diverse, because we got different AFSCs and different nationalities and different, all these other components of diversity. Then I think we can get there. You can't have leadership or women in leadership if we don't have women joining, and you can't have black people at the top if black people aren't, progressing from whatever stage. And you fill in the blank with whatever diverse component you want. It has to start at the beginning in order for it to make it to the top. And so let's focus, there and less on, making sure that the ones that are already here are, I guess, focusing on the message or that narrative of we got to be able to have the hard conversations. I think we absolutely do, but I think we also have to look at those other things and look at the root. So
I agree with that. I think the hard part is and I know we were talking about harmony, but now I'm going back to balance, right? But trying to balance the two, honestly,
Yeah,
right? Because representation matters.
it does.
But at the same time, diversity of thought matters.
Yes.
And regardless of your skin tone or your gender or your religion or you can fill in the blank. We all have a different set of experiences. And when I think about, if I have a project and I'm trying to put a team together, I want a team that does not think just like me. I want a team that maybe has some opposing views. I want a teammate that maybe has a different perspective that I've never even considered. All of those things increase the probability of success. So if I were to just go with my one train of thought, or I do a little groupthink thing, right? Like all of us, we're all on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
We probably won't reach the highest potential that we could because we lacked that diversity of thought. And so I think that's very important, trying to figure out how do I get the right mixture. Like when I look in the audience, this is fantastic. There is all sorts of religions and ethnicities and genders. There's so much in this room. That should be the collective without just pinpointing, right? Like you said, well, it has to be a certain gender, it has to be a certain race, it has to be, no.
Because we're already there. We're already
Yes.
kind of there. We just gotta just do the thing.
Yeah, diversity of thought matters. So.
Just do it, because we have what we're pinpointing. It's already here. So let's just, dig deep into what do you bring to the table, and we'll get our diversity of thought, and be able to solve more complex problems than we would if it was just groupthink type of thing. So I hope that.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
You saved me.
I think too, as we're trying to do more, just bring more people into the fold, focusing on our similarities and also what our ultimate objectives are. It'll tie into that, bringing those different ideas and mindsets to the table, because we've got this common goal and this common objective. And sometimes I think we forget that we're here at Edwards Air Force Base. We all have a common goal. So if we focus on that common goal, sometimes all this other stuff will kind of trickle out, and we'll focus on the important things.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Upperman, this one's for you. Reflecting back on your career, what would you consider a defining moment for you?
Defining moment. That wasn't one of the ones you gave me.
Well, that's good.
It wasn't in the homework.
I think I grew up very sheltered, in that my parents, you can do whatever you want to do. I never got well, you're a girl, you can't be an engineer. They're like, go for it. You're good at math, go for it. I'm not good at math, but they thought I was. So I didn't see any of that negativity. And then when I came here and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by guys. And I've always been surrounded by guys in all my classes, but it didn't really dawn on me until it hit me when I was here and I'm by myself, I'm 2,000 miles from home, I don't know anybody, and all of my bosses are guys. Everybody in all of the rooms I hang out with, they're all guys. And there was a moment in there that I'm like, but everybody here has my back, right? My boss was trying to figure out how to get me lamps because I didn't bring any lamps with me, right? Somebody was trying to find me a vacuum cleaner. I mean, simple, common, everyday things that I'm like, everyone here, they're looking out for me. And that was huge. So that was probably one of those big, I'm also a crier, it's so sad. But it was just a pivotal moment that I could be alone and I could be different than everybody else around me, but it was okay, because I had people there. I don't know if that's where you were going, but that's what pops up.
Ma'am, that is your moment, so it can be whatever answer you like. Okay. Well, we'll move on to the next segment of our panel today. So now that we've kind of wrapped up our initial discussion, we're going to open the floor up for questions. So if you'd like to direct your questions to a specific panelist, please mention the panelist's name first and then ask questions. So we can start by raising our hand. If anyone has a question?
I think they're getting the microphone
Oh, okay.
for the
Sorry,
streaming
figure out how to
audience.
put the microphone on. Our technology is our greatest asset and worst enemy all at the same time. Right here. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Snyder. I'm a contracting officer in the test and specialized contracting branch, so I work closely with the 412th and Test Pilot School mission partners. My question is actually for across the board. I'm sure you've all had many influential leaders that have crossed your path, but if you could name one who kind of stands out to you and why, I'd like to know.
So for me, it's my aunt Karina. She was an Army MP, a Texas State Trooper for over 20 years. And for me, she has always been my biggest cheerleader and my biggest hero. She had breast cancer, so she's a survivor. She's a survivor of many things. And so she's always been my beacon of light when things kind of get dark for me, just based off of her life and her experiences.
Yeah, for me, it's my grandmother on my mom's side. I know her as Nana. And unfortunately, she is resting peacefully. But man, you talk about a powerful woman. This is a woman who's the oldest of 14. She didn't have the opportunity to finish her education past the 8th grade because she pretty much had to step up and almost be a second mom. She helped name her siblings. Like, she was a powerhouse woman, and she spent a lot of her time giving back to other people. And she, to me, is the epitome of selfless service. She could meet you in the elevator right now. And if you needed shoes, she was taking them, she was unbuckling and unsnapping. I mean, whatever you needed, right? She was just that person. And you talk about someone with selfless compassion, just kindness. By far, the best human being that I could ever have the opportunity to share a life with. And so for me, she inspires me every single day to be strong, to be kind, and to love everyone. So, yeah, hats off to Nana. Yeah.
So I would say the same. My mother and my grandmother were very influential. Pretty much they've both been single for my whole life. And my grandmother had 12 kids, so my mom was one of those 12. And then my mom raised me and my two brothers and showed me independence and strength and courage and just how to fight and go and don't let anybody tell you you can't kind of thing. And then throughout my career, I've run across so many people that I wouldn't be able to just say that it was the one, because I've taken different attributes and things from so many of my my mentors. And so I've been fortunate, like it was mentioned before, to have been blessed with great leaders who see something in me, things that I don't see myself, and just they remind me that, you know, no matter what it is, you're qualified, and I keep showing up for these divine appointments that I'm assigned, and you know, and just going with it, you know, scared as hell, but knowing that I'm here for a reason. I'm always going to end up where I'm meant to be, and I'm going to own it and go. So, all the women leaders, the chiefs, the command chiefs that I saw when I was a young airman, the male supervisors who took me under their wing. My previous boss, my current boss is phenomenal. Like, I've had a good list of examples to you know, follow. So, good stuff for me. Yeah.
I'd go a different direction. Yes, I'd totally put my mom in there. But if I was picking somebody that was from here on base, Pete Burke, if anybody remembers him, he hired me 20 years ago. And he did an amazing job just with all of the new hires. I was one out of the first, 30 new hires that EW was bringing on at that time. So a whole bunch of new kids with a whole bunch of, I'd say crusty guys, but it was mostly just experienced people that, he just took us all underneath his wing, and he's like, and I would get phone calls up until the day he retired. Teresa, yes, Pete, did you finish that training? He was always promoting the leadership training. He was always the one saying, oh, sure, you can go do that. And I'm just like, no, I just want to hide in my vault and work on my data. He's like, no, you've got to get out there. You have the qualities to make that happen. So he was a huge mentor and inspiration for me.
I'll go next. So I've had similar experiences to Teresa. I've been very lucky, like I said before, in terms of the leaders that I have had here. Everyone's always been super encouraging and pushing me out of my comfort zone, and they had my back and everything. The one that kind of stands out for me, one of my leads at the 418th when I was an engineer there, she was the first female lead that I had, and she truly showed me like how it's possible to lead with love, right? To create an environment of belonging that everybody fits in, everybody has a say, everybody gets a voice. She showed me that you can do it, right? You can do it with, regardless of which team you have, you can make it happen, right? We used to call her Mama Bear because she was always, she always looked out for us. She never, not that she treated us like children or anything, she had the utmost respect for everybody. But if anyone outside the group messes with any of us, like that's when the closet come out, right? And she was amazing about giving us top cover and looking out for us and making sure we had what we needed to get our job done. Like that was her whole goal. And that was super inspirational to me. And I feel like that's one thing that I've, again, tried to, embody as much as I've been able to. So, yeah, she was amazing.
I would have to say I had a supervisor years ago that wasn't associated with the base here at all. I was in between jobs, and I took a retail position. And this lady, she was the manager of the store, and I was her assistant. And she felt that if I knew everything that she did and was as knowledgeable as she was, the easier her job was. So there was never any secrets there. She propped me up to be the best I could be, and I've always tried to emulate her because I've always thought that was wonderful to surround yourself with people and make sure they know what you know. And I think it's huge to be able to pass that on.
Thank you.
Good morning, panel. I am Staff Sergeant Wright from the 412 Security Forces Squadron, and I feel very honored to hear from all of you. My question is, as the military is growing and our profession is opening up its eyes to loosening hair regs and things like that, how do you feel is the next step of something in policy as a female we need to address?
So I can speak a little bit on that. So man, 21 years, there's been a lot of dress and appearance changes. And it's taken an adjustment even for me, even for the first time wearing a ponytail. And I'm always like, just make sure, and I'm having my husband, can you check, can you make sure it doesn't go past? And right, because I'm so used to just the institutional ingrained, standards that we've had when it comes to these things. But as I look at some of the changes that we've made and the direction that we're going, for me, I would love to see some changes in our service dress. Because I'll be honest, I'm a curvy woman. And I am just like Chief Warshman, and I get up in the morning and I'm getting this workout, but this girl is thick fit. And, I would love to see, and when I think about, and I'm a diet tech by trade, right? And so there are quite a few people who are out there who share various types of body composition. But our uniforms cannot be a one-size-fit-all, right? And so when I think about all the things that we have done, even in fitness standards, right? We're not doing waist circumference because it's actually a health measurement versus a fitness component. We're trying to move into a direction where we are doing things for the right reason and being a little bit more smart in our decision making. And so in a world today where you've got Instagram models and social media that's telling you that this is what right looks like, this is what the definition of beautiful is, I look forward to seeing changes in our military, starting with uniforms, that embraces different body types. You can be thick fit, right? Because I'm one of them. But sometimes you don't feel as beautiful when your clothes don't feel comfortable, or when they don't necessarily fit a certain way. And I think that could be one direction that we can look at. I know we've made some improvements in our OCPs, so I'm definitely championing that. But I think if we can look at our service dress uniform, that would be a next great step.
The chief stole it. Right? That's the first thing I thought of. Them damn blues. I don't know what lab these things are created in, but these people hate us. No, I'm with Chief. Again, I've struggled with body image my whole career. If you're not skinny, tall, and look a certain kind of way, then you weren't the right fit to be a shirt. You weren't the right fit to be a PME instructor. As I exit the military, I hope that that's what happens, is that we embrace people as who they are, and we don't make them feel bad for their genetics. I want people to be able to embrace their amazing curves and not feel like I need to go and purge because I just ate a cheeseburger and it's, but she can eat it and she's gonna look amazing and I'm gonna, but that's really my thing. I think we're getting there, and I think we're moving in the right direction, so.
I would agree with that. I mean, for the mess dress, those pants, I cannot wait to have the time to go try on. I tried on a men's 32. So waiting for the women's version to come out to accommodate, different body types. And they're looking at the changes to body armor and, the things we've done with the maternity uniforms and lactation rooms and those sorts of things.
That's come such a long way, the maternity uniform.
What's that?
The maternity uniform has definitely come a long way.
Yes. So I think we're doing it. I think that as we go along, we have to continue to speak up and identify those things that are causing hair loss and harm and whatever else. Continue to speak up about those things, because like we did with the hair regs, we can change whatever works. We just have to be vocal and speak up on those things. So I think they kind of touched on the couple of things that would come to mind for me, but I know there's a couple of things out there that we're just not aware of. So please help us with that.
We have time for one more question.
Hello, I'm Amran Lopez from 412 Maintenance Group. Morning panel. So my question is, we all want to be successful. I'm very young in my career, and I one day want to be sitting where you guys are at. I want to grow my career. but we all have goals, we all have mindsets. I want to know, how do you guys deal with when you're faced with a step back, with a bad day? How do you regroup and come back better than ever? That's something that I want to learn when I get to those shoes and when I have airmen on my own to help them, guide them to handle those challenges.
I love that question. Because something that I had to learn, and to be honest with you, I'm still learning, is to give myself grace. I am one of those people that is very quick to judge myself because I have such high standards for myself. And my mom will even tell you she took toys away from me when I was a kid, even if I couldn't figure it out. She said, well, just put that to the side. Just because I had such high expectations from such a young age. Man, I had to get it right. I had to figure it out. I had to fix it. I had to, get certain grades in school, or it just this pressure that I had put on myself. And man, if I didn't attain it, then I was my worst critic. No matter what anybody could ever say to me, right? Like, I was already poking myself in the eye 10 times before you even said something to me. And it took a long time for me to accept that, progress doesn't necessarily mean perfection. Mm-hmm. And so I am wonderfully and beautifully made, and there are some beauties in my imperfection. And on that journey of just trying to learn grace, I have allowed myself the opportunity to just grow from the mistakes that I've made, try to peel back the layers to figure out what was the lesson that I was supposed to learn, right? Sometimes, you talked about divine appointments. Maybe this wasn't the right time for that whatever opportunity or whatever it was to take place. Maybe there was some experience that I needed to gain before moving on to that next step. And so, I often talk about my journey in the Air Force. Man, I've had some valleys where I felt like, I was just in the lowest times of my life, and I feel like I'm literally like knee and elbow crawling my way out. Times where I felt like I was just climbing this mountain and it felt like I was never going to achieve my goals. Times where I was at a stop sign and I'm ready to move. I'm ready for the green light, let's go. And it is the longest red light or the stop sign that just never seems to let me go, collect $200. And I couldn't understand why I'm at a standstill, but maybe it was because I was being prepared. Maybe it was because I was supposed to encounter someone along the way. And so I tell you these things because I've had, which I would love, have had a straight line journey, but it wasn't. It was full of detours. It was full of U-turn, go turn back around and go do that all over again. It was full of so many different obstacles that I have learned that have fortified me, that have made me stronger, made me appreciate some things, allowed me to connect with people that I probably would not have connected with on a path if I would have went in a different direction. And so I've embraced not being in a place of success all the time. I've embraced having grace for myself in the areas where maybe I did not achieve certain goals as quickly as I wanted to, or when things didn't pan out the way that I did. Mm-hmm. Because what I've learned in the process is that I was always where I was supposed to be, when I was supposed to be there, and I was showing up equipped and ready to do the damn thing because I had a journey that wasn't necessarily a straight line and had compassion for myself along the way.
Oh, there will be bad days. Give yourself permission to be a human being and to have those days, and surround yourself with people that are going to remind you that it's okay, you're human too, and you're the only one qualified to be you. So just remember that it doesn't have to look like her or him. It's yours. And if you fall, if you have a bad day, what are you going to do the next day? Just keep moving forward. Don't dwell on what happened. You got to leave that stuff where it is and move out. And remember your goals, remember your why, your purpose, and don't look back.
I would also, just to add to that, there will be more and more setbacks as you kind of climb the ladder, right? Things just keep getting harder. They're not going to get easier. When the wins come, they're going to be rare. When they come, you just have to give them the weight that they are owed, right? So, and that could be something as small as getting a thank you for something that you did for someone. It could be that small, but let that, sink in and let that matter for what it is. So even if something else happened that went completely sideways, just the fact that you were able to help that one person with that one thing should mean more than that one thing going sideways, if that makes sense. So, yeah, just let the wins count for what they are.
Yeah, make your journey an adventure, okay? Make it an adventure. That means it's not just a clear path. It's not going to be easy. Take the falls and okay, I see you, rock, and learn from it, and then keep going, but make it an adventure, okay? Bitterness is very easy in the military, right? You get overlooked for BTZ. You didn't get promoted. Why is somebody else getting the strat and I didn't? And bitterness is an evil seed that gets planted. Don't let it get planted. Say, not today, seed. No. Okay? Please, everybody in the room, do not let bitterness hold you back from being your awesome self, because it's a quick seed and it's like a weed and it'll grow very quickly. And it'll be on your face, it'll be on your demeanor, and we don't want that. So make it an adventure. Remember to learn from what you got. Like the chief said, don't dwell on it. Learn from it. Don't dwell on it. And you'll be fine, and you'll be here, 15 years from now.
Yeah, setbacks really aren't setbacks. They're just the direction you didn't think you were going. There's never any setbacks.
Thank you all so much. As we come to a close of today's panel, I would like to ask our panelists, are there any last words of wisdom or any takeaways you'd like to provide our audience before we come to an end today? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Just a thank you to the panel. What a great, diverse panel. Chief Patterson, I haven't met you, but I met the woman sitting to your left, and she is fabulous. I would just add one thing, or maybe two things. First of all, one size does not fit all. Not in uniforms or anything else, and that's good, because someone like me wouldn't serve in any other Air Force on the globe, except for here in the United States. And awkward as it sometimes is, I think differently, because I have to. And the diversity of thinking that comes from people like me and other people with disabilities is one of the things that makes us the war-winningest Air Force on the face of the earth. So thank you, ladies, all of you. I knew Pete Burke. He was fabulous. Thanks for mentioning him. His memory lives on. Folks like you. So leadership, wow, I'm impressed. You have inspired me today, and I needed it. So thank you.
I would just say thank you to all the men, women, those out there who inspired me, who advocate and create gender-free limits or free from gender environments, free from race discrimination environments, just building on the diversity that we need without throwing it in our faces, to the point where it becomes a dirty word. But just continuing to lead and do what needs to be done. And that right there is paving the way for our kids. They won't have to worry about male versus female limits or gender limitations and things like that, because we have the opportunity to eliminate those things. And so my heart goes out to those who understand that those are the things that we've been addressing for a long time, and we got to keep that going, keep that torch, so that we can continue to pass it along. And just I'm honored to serve with a diverse group of folks, different races, different ages, different genders, different backgrounds and all those things. And to have the support, no matter what I look like, that lets me know that I'm qualified. no matter what I'm doing. This job, the last job, the next job. And so thank you to everybody.
I would say don't let self-doubt get in your way. You never know unless you try. So always try.
Yeah.
I am super thankful to, one, the team that put all this together. All of you who have other things you could be doing right now, but you decided to be here today. And to my fellow phenomenal women who are on this stage with me, this has been truly honorable to sit next to you and to just share perspective. What I will leave with you today is, like I said, it's been 21 years, and holy smokes, it just doesn't feel like it's been 21 years. I started my career, and to this day, as a diet therapist, when I said representation matters, it truly does. Because diet therapy is such a small career field, my whole life I've only seen one female African-American diet tech chief. I am the second in 21 years, the sole African-American female in my career. That's huge. And I remember meeting her. I was in tech school, 3-level tech school. She was at a 7-level school. And so Chief Bianca Lindsay, if you are listening, I thank you because you showed me what I could be. And I remember she took time to just invest and pour into me and just drop little nuggets here and there. But her being in that position showed me that it is possible. And like you said, ma'am, you are qualified. You are worthy to sit in the seat and to wear the stripes, to be in the positions that you desire to be in. So I say that to all my ladies in the audience, no matter whether you're active duty, civilian, whatever your category, you are worthy. You are worthy to sit on this stage. We could pull up all the chairs. You are worthy. And understand that your example is one that will probably be admired by those you don't even know. She doesn't even know to this day how much I admire her and how much she has inspired me to be in this position today. And then to all the men in the audience, I thank you. Thank you for being the support. Thank you for being the rock, the encourager, the advocate, the champion, the spear, whatever you needed to be to help continue to help women be heard and seen, appreciated and valued. Thank you for your contribution and what you do to help us to stand strong and be proud of the things that we know that we have to offer. I value and appreciate you and the things that you do to help us. And if I were to leave you with one last thing, it is an honor to serve with all of you. And it is truly my privilege to sit on this stage because I would have never thought I would be here. I really didn't. But I am truly blessed by all the experiences and people like you that I get to continue to work and serve and share with so that I have the honor to sit here with you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'll echo that. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well, to close, we would like to thank our panelists along with the Women's History Month Observance Committee for creating such an amazing experience today. We've learned a lot, and we hope that you can all take away something from this great conversation. Thank you so much for attending, and have a wonderful Air Force Day.
Thank you.
Just one more thing, sorry. Again, yes, like Sergeant Everett said, thank you so much for coming here. When I envisioned kind of creating this panel, this was beyond my expectation. My committee lead here, Sergeant Everett, I gave her this idea and I just said run, and she sure did. And so thank you so much for putting this on because this was fantastic. we were all worried that no one was going to show up just because we know how advertising on Edwards worked. So this is amazing. And so I thank every one of you for taking the time to come out here. And panelists, man, I should have had some tissues in the back. I wasn't expecting all of that, but thank you so much. As a female in a male-dominant career field in aircraft maintenance, it is not easy. And so when we have panels like this, it's kind of what makes me okay to come to work every day and show the women behind me that this is where you belong. And so I really wanted to just say thank you to everyone who is here today, and I just appreciate that. So yeah, that is it. So have a good day. Panelists, they're just going to ask us to take some pictures after this if you don't mind. But yes, thank you.